something about the in-person thing. Because
I wanna
even
record
here,
start.
I prefer to be on the person.
Recording.
But doing it on Zoom, it's just not the same.
About the not having it in person.
Yeah, the guys don't do as well.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, we will call the Green Bay Sex Offender Residency Board to meet. We'll take roll call.
Got it.
Okay.
I've documented everyone's present.
We need an approval of the agenda for Wednesday, November 20th meeting.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then we need an approval for the minutes from the October 23rd meeting.
Move to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, first, regular business is the appeal of Scott Kaser requesting to move to 1647 West Mason Street. And that's apartment number 4.
Yes.
Okay, and this was your first time coming before us?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna ask you a series of questions. The first being letting us know what you were arrested and convicted of. When you talk about your offense, we just ask that you don't state the victim by name or relationship. Okay, and then we also will want to talk to you about any treatment that you may have received. You have the opportunity to do that in closed session or remain in public session. Do you have a preference? Okay, all right, so why don't you go ahead and start with what you were arrested and convicted of?
I was arrested for having images of child porn on the computer.
And how long had you been doing that?
I had been collecting porn images for years. It was just recently, before I had been arrested, that I had started to collect them. Child porn, just because it was something new. I was running out of things to look into, and I was addicted, and you look for new stuff, and new stuff, and new stuff. And that's where I ended up, and I shouldn't have.
And then how did the police get involved?
I think I was reported by a website. I'm not exactly sure who it was. It was a website that reported me, and I think somebody posted images on a certain website, and anybody that downloaded those images, or he got caught, and anybody that downloaded those images also got caught. Is how I understand it.
Okay. And then did you go to trial?
No,
No, you pled no contest, is that correct? Okay, and you got 5 years in state prison and then 7 years supervision?
correct.
When did you get released from prison?
September 17th of this year.
And you've been at the TLP since then?
Yes.
Okay. We have a captain from the Green Bay Police Department. We usually like to confer with him that your story, the details that you provided were accurate. Captain, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It was NECMEC cyber tip.
Okay, all right, thank you. Does the board have any questions regarding his offense?
You didn't answer the question, how do you feel the sexual crime affected your victim?
I had a problem answering that because there was no direct victim for me. I didn't know any of them. I don't know how it affected them. I hope, I pray all the time that they're okay. I don't know how old they are now. I don't know what their situation is in life. I feel horrible for at the time not realizing how my actions could affect them. I just didn't realize it at the time. You didn't think that there was a victim, it never registered. Now that I know more about child crimes and when they're abducted and everything that's going on nowadays, I hope that I had nothing to do with it. I like kids. I would defend one to the death. But I would never intentionally harm a kid.
So you recognize even though those were just images, that those were actual people that were done.
Oh, I do,
under
sure,
these
but
people.
back then, it never entered my mind. I didn't even realize I was doing something illegal.
Um. So you're at the TLP and you're requesting to move to 1647 West Mason Street. I'm sorry, this thing that you attached, this property management agreement. I really wasn't quite sure what this was all about because I don't see your name on this
Oh,
at
hi.
all.
Heidi, that's me.
Oh.
The property is owned by somebody else, but then the property management company manages it for them. So that's why that's in there. And it's in there for a couple of other.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
new.
that's
I
what that
didn't.
is.
Okay.
Because that's not signed landlord letter, property management.
Oh, okay. We'll disregard that.
Okay.
then. Perfect, thank you. Are you working anywhere?
Yes.
And where do you work?
I am working at Mike DeCoster Trucking, the same company that I was working for before I got arrested. Mike and his wife have been incredible for me or with me during this whole situation. They actually kept my job the whole time I was incarcerated. Mike asked me what I was gonna do once I got out, and I told him I always planned on retiring from him. I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. He told me that when I get out, I have a job with him, no matter what. He said, if I don't have a truck available for you, I'll put you in mine and I'm gonna semi-retire. That's the kind of guy he is. And I got out on the 17th, which was a Tuesday. I started working full-time from the next Monday. If you include the 5 years that I was incarcerated, I've been working for him since 2008. And I must have been doing a decent job for him if he wanted me back.
Is that like a semi-driving?
Yes, I'm a truck driver, in-state. I haul dairy feed.
Okay. Are you home nightly or are you, okay?
Usually start, 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, and I'm done by 5:30, 4:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. It's 48 to 55 hours a week.
Okay, and your treatment, we're okay to talk about that right now? Okay, it says in here that, there was none that was recommended, is that correct?
When I got to Waupun, they did a questionnaire or survey or whatever with me, or they talked to me, and none was recommended to me at that time, and they said I didn't need any. Before that, before I was incarcerated, I did go to Jim Drake, 25 times or better. I do have a report here in case you guys want to look at it.
Yes, we would.
Okay, and then I also have a letter from Mike and a couple, if you're interested in this, and a couple of my job performance. Oh, might as well mention this right away. I did do a positive psychology and a booster group while I was incarcerated too.
Okay. Yeah, we'll want to look at all of that and, yeah.
This is a letter from my boss that was actually to the judge. I thought maybe as a character that you might want to just read it.
Okay, so you saw Jim Drake in I'm sorry, he handed us a family services, sex offender treatment evaluation and risk assessment.
There's lots of pages there.
Yeah, there are a lot of pages here. Which unfortunately, I'm not gonna have time to read all of that.
In essence, one of the ratings that he goes by, I was rated a 0 out of 7 as a risk assessment. I forget what abbreviation it was for, C something, but very low risk.
So he does state here towards the end, it's not unusual for someone early in the treatment process to minimize and be in denial due to possible shame and guilt related to their sexual crime, along with possible fear of the natural consequences of the legal system. It should be noted that Mr. Kaser has shown improvement via the treatment process when it comes to addressing his goals and related expectations. So can you tell us what the biggest thing that you learned from Mr. Drake?
There were quite a few things, most of them very embarrassing. But I learned how pornography can affect your judgment with people. I objectified women. And it's very, I can tell, it sounds weird maybe, but I can tell now how I visualize or how I see women in general, but people overall, a little differently than I did before. I People are nicer now. They're happier. I'm happier. It's easier to be nice with them. Have more patience. It's just lots of things changing. What else would you like?
Did you ever get to the why? Why did you become addicted to porn?
I don't know why the addiction, why I turned to it. I was having family issues with my ex-wife. Sexually, things were getting awkward. We had two amazing kids, but after her pregnancy, she had gained weight, and that bothered me that she wasn't trying to lose it. I started having performance issues, which is embarrassing, but it is what it is. When we would get intimate once in a while, every once in a while, I wouldn't be able to perform the way I wanted to. That made things more awkward. So it became less and less and less often that that we got intimate. And I turned to pornography because there was no pressure. You could do what you wanted to do. You weren't worried about this, weren't being watched or judged by that, if you understand what I mean. And that was the biggest reason. And I never knew how much it had a hold on pornography in general. Until this happened and everything happened.
Any questions about his treatment there?
On here.
No, here.
Okay. And I noticed in your judgment of conviction, you're prohibited to have any kind of electronic device that would connect you to the internet.
Mhm.
Is that still in place?
It is, I'm working through it. I have permission to have tablets by my parents when I'm at my parents on the weekends. And I have a flip phone. That's it. So I'm working with my PO on trying to get permission to. Nowadays, everything is based on the internet, right? I mean, your health insurance, doctors, coupons, everything. So I'm trying to get permission to get my Xbox and some, some racing, stuff like that, just to be able to enjoy things a little bit more.
Okay. I get this, so. Just this. So you provided us a letter from your employer and then just that family services?
Yes.
I thought you had some certificates or something.
Oh,
You said
yes,
you
I
had.
have 'em. I didn't turn them in because
Oh.
I thought you had enough there to look at.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I have some certificates of completion.
Okay.
Positive psychology.
positivity.
Do you want to see my job performance reviews?
No, that's
Okay.
not necessary.
All right.
So certificate of completion, positivity and positivity booster group. So I'm assuming you did those while you were incarcerated.
That's correct.
Where was that at?
That was at Oak Hill with psychologist,
Okay.
Ms. Zimmerman.
Okay. What did you learn from those classes?
Just different ways to think. Really, it helped me more. I was dealing with depression back then too. It helped me more, or as much as anything with my depression and thinking more positive, hence the name, I guess, but just keeping a better outlook on things.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Do you have any issues with drugs or alcohol?
No.
Okay.
never used illegal drugs. I don't smoke. I drink rarely.
Okay. Right. Any discussion from the board?
I think he's done what he needs to do. He's got a good paying job. Compliant with.
Yeah, You know, typically we like to see, make sure that you have that treatment, and I know you didn't have anything recently, but I'm glad you provided this evaluation from Dr. Drake, because you know, that's really one of the main things that we need to make sure that you have done is you've gone through some kind of a treatment.
And he did tell me, I remember at the time, if you have issues in the future, if you feel something slipping, or you just wanna talk, come on back. So I know that he or they are there if I need them.
Okay. Okay, good.
That one.
Oh, yes.
I noticed on here you didn't fill out anything for church friends or other support. You plan on doing anything like that? Or-
When you get out, it's kind of a whirlwind at first. I have a ton of support from my parents. My son is behind me 100%. I'm still working on my daughter, just because she's in she's in school yet, and I'm trying to avoid, you know, kids can be mean. So I'm trying to not accidentally be found out, you know, with her friends and her friends' families. So, I'm just trying to slowly work into, you know, getting closer with her again. But, I have a couple of friends that I've reached out to. And I've had friends that have written me while I was in, you know, were great for me while I was there. So I do have friends. I probably didn't know how to answer that one. That question at the time. Church, slowly but surely I'll get to it. Like I said, everything, there's just a ton of stuff to do and to get your life organized again after something like this. So
Thanks.
Alex, do you have anything?
No, I don't believe the location would increase the likelihood of a recurrence of issues here. So I make a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, you are approved to reside at the 1647 West Mason, number 4. If you do decide to move from that location, you must come back to see us again.
what if it's on the county?
Oh, if it's out of the
I
county,
would
then
talk to
no.
them,
But
correct?
if you decide to live in the city
Like
of
out of
Green Bay
Kiwi or
again.
Kiwanee here.
Yeah.
I talk to them.
No.
Get the paperwork back, are you keeping it or?
Do you want any copies of
Do you want
this?
me to make any copies?
I'm okay. Do you, no,
Record.
We've got a record of it on.
okay, there you go.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And did you want us to mail that to the TLP or to the new address?
I have my mail on hold right now just because we didn't know where I was gonna be, so you can mail it to the TLP
Okay,
and it'll get to the post office. I'll do a change of address if I need to.
okay, perfect.
Thank you. everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just go?
Yes, you're good to go. Mhm. The next appeal is Alan Revelinsky. Hi. So Alan, you are currently residing at 1704 South Ashland Avenue, wanting to move to 1139 East Walnut?
Correct.
Okay, why the move?
Well, I'm living in a hotel right now,
Okay,
so yeah.
okay. And then this is your first time before us?
It is.
Okay, so as you heard me with the earlier gentleman, we're gonna ask you to tell us what you were arrested and convicted of. Again, don't state the victim by name or relationship.
Sure.
So go ahead.
I was arrested and convicted of possession of child pornography.
Okay. And like, how long were you doing it?
Before I was arrested, about 2 years.
And how did the police get involved?
And I'm really not 100% sure on. I think it was, they were just monitoring things online and just did their own investigation from there. I really don't know the answer to that question for this
Okay.
case.
All right, so you didn't go to trial,
I pled no contest.
all right. And so you got 3 years incarceration and 4 years of extended supervision. And when did you get out of prison?
2022.
And so where have you been at this hotel this whole time?
No,
Where have you been living all that time?
I was considered homeless for a while and staying with my parents and stuff. then yeah, I've been living in the hotel for a while now.
Okay. And that's who you're gonna live with now? Or you're gonna go back to live with your mom and your dad and a brother?
I remember, that's right.
Okay, all right. Um, so we have, the opportunity to talk to you about, treatment. Do you wish to go into closed session or remain in public session?
We can marry.
Okay, yeah, and do you have some documentation there?
I do.
Okay, yes, please bring that forward.
And Heidi, if I could interrupt, if Lieutenant Allen could confirm the details that he provided.
Yes. Yes, Captain Allen, can you confirm the accuracy of his story?
Yes, that's correct. It's a child pornography conviction and it was based off of online software, like a peer-to-peer software sharing program.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And is it lieutenant or captain? Because I thought it was lieutenant. Did you get a promotion?
It is Lieutenant. I'm not going to correct Heidi. So yeah, but it's Lieutenant Allen. There is a Captain Allen, but it's Captain Ben Allen. And I'm Lieutenant Jason Allen.
Yeah. See, I just
No.
want to call you Jason.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 Allens at the PD, so and instead of just correcting anything, I just let it be. It's fine.
Thank you. Okay, so, Alan,
Yeah, one of those is for the SOT treatment and the other is for drug treatment.
yep. So Alan has provided us a, documentation from Green Bay, Comprehensive Treatment Center. That, I'm not gonna announce it, but you're prescribed some medication. You're compliant with all aspects of your treatment. And then, we have a letter dated from Pablo Cerna from Henger Enterprises, dated November 7th of this year, that he is familiar with Alan. He completed an evaluation with this writer, started group treatment with this writer on February 16th of 2024, admits his offense, actively participates, and has consistent attendance and completes homework. Okay, perfect. Tell us what, you've learned from SOT.
Sure, I'm still going weekly every Thursday morning. You learn a lot. Pablo keeps the homework regular and you know, he teaches you that there's an offense cycle from the beginning to the end. And right now, in fact, my homework assignment for tomorrow is ways you justify your offense. I'm not done with it yet. I still have to complete it. I've been nervous all week, but a lot of the things he teaches you are based on your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors, and how your thoughts and your feelings dictate your actions, and that there's consequences for your actions. That's a lot of what he teaches you. They're called behavior chains. You list something that you think about, whether it's you know, a negative thought, and you tell them how you feel at that time, and then what you did, what your actions were. You just go over that sort of thing over and over again. He doesn't promise that he can answer why anybody did what they did. But yeah, that's about all we do in group every day, every week.
Why do you think you did what you did?
Well, I was a different person back then, and I had a drug addiction. I know that's a common excuse people use, but it's the truth. And it just lowers your kind of like if you're an alcoholic, which I'm not an alcoholic. It just makes it okay to do things you normally wouldn't do in the right state of mind. I'm not that person anymore. So I'm in the clinic. They urine test you 3 times a month. I haven't had a dirty way. I've been going there now for 2 years now. So yeah.
So can I ask, I mean, so you got out of prison in 2022, you're incarcerated for 3 years. Did you have a relapse when you got out? Is that why you're with this program?
Yeah, I did start to use opiates after a while. This was more to stay off street drugs. I didn't wanna have to use street drugs, so to utilize this clinic here is, keeps you off of that. This makes it safe and, legal this way.
And how long have you been attending them, the
It's-
CTC?
It's been, about a year and a half.
Okay. All right. Do you attend any classes outside of, I mean, I know that they do offer some kind of counseling a little bit, but do you do any other counseling for that issue?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right. Okay, any questions on treatment? No, okay. Are you currently working?
Work full-time.
Where at?
A warehouse, a bees vending. We, provide, snacks and soda for vending machines, just package them up in the warehouse. Get them onto trucks, drivers can get them to the vending machines, so they.
All right. How long have you been there?
Almost 2 years, it's 2 years now, actually, it was Thanksgiving when I first got out, so it's, yeah.
Okay.
Just about 2 years.
All right, good for you. And then what do you do in your spare time?
Well, right now, I don't have a lot of spare time. I work a lot. I work noon till like 8 at night, and I go to my parents and take care of them. They're elderly. They have trouble walking around. They both use walkers, and right now my mom is in the Woodside rehab facility. She's been in there for like 2 weeks. They need a lot of help, so I'm always doing things for them. Going to the store, going over to their house and making sure the garbage is out. My brother's there too, but he had a stroke last year, and he's a little loose on his feet. He's not, strong on his feet. He's fallen over a couple times. So yeah, they need me to come over there a lot, help them with everything. So that's why I need to be living there with them. Take care of each other.
Okay. And then you are on extended supervision till how long? When do you get off of that?
I got a year and a half left. It was 4 years total, so yeah.
Okay. And are you allowed to have access to a computer or?
No. No, not this time. I think when I'm done with the group, I think they'll consider that.
Okay.
I
What about
have a flip phone.
a flip phone? Okay, okay. And do either your parents or your brother have a computer at the house?
They do.
And is that gonna be blocked? Has your probation agent checked this out? Are there rules for?
I'm not allowed to use it. They won't let me use it. So.
Okay. All right. All right, any questions, guys?
Nope.
Okay. Well, again, we'll have a little discussion, but I mean, I'm again thankful that you brought these documents and you can have these back. It's very important that we know that you are participating in treatment and we see that,
Yes.
that you have it. You can tell us that you're there, but it's better to have that documentation. So
Sure.
I don't have a concern with you residing with your parents.
No, this is doing what we're supposed to do. His parents need his help. Tell them go home.
Alex?
Same thing here. I don't have any concerns that the location would increase his likelihood of a recurring issue, so I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you are approved. Would you like us to mail that to the motel or are you gonna go right to your parents' house?
I would mail it to my parents.
Parents' house, okay, thank you. Again, if you decide to leave your parents' house, you will need to come back before us. Okay?
Anywhere in Green Bay, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
Good
thank
luck.
you. The next appeal is Thomas Robinson Lulahadi. Did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Lul
Al?
Hadi.
Lulahadi.
You don't have to stand up.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Right, do you mind if I just call you Thomas?
Yes, ma'am, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. So right now, you list that you're homeless, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
but you want to go to 919 Shane Street,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
That's the home.
And you're gonna live there by yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, so, I know your offenses are extremely old. But, you know, oh, wait, you've been here before.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been a long time since
Many,
you've been here.
Many years.
Yes, so, did the board read his previous, documentation, or would you rather have him repeat everything?
I thought was not having to.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Alex?
I don't need a full recap. I just want to pose the question again. You know, is this something that was made up and you just went with it for a better sentence, or did this happen?
No, this happened.
I'm not following.
Because it looks like in the recap of the 2014 appeal, you said the charges were made up.
He said that 3 weeks later, the charges were made. So it had been a lengthy period of time after he broke up with a mother.
Oh, okay. Maybe I read something else.
It did use the word, the charges were made, but it doesn't say that the charges were made up.
Okay, I thought I read it somewhere else, and my apologies. No
Oh.
questions.
No, I do know where you get that from, Alex. In the 2008, the third paragraph, it does say that, during discussion, Mr. Robinson indicated there was another charge in approximately 85 or 87. It was an accusation of sexual assault of his girlfriend's child. Mr. Robinson indicated that did not happen. However, he took a plea to first-degree sexual assault of a child. I think that's where you're getting that from. So do you
Yeah.
want me to repeat that then?
Yeah, posing that question for that incident.
So, Thomas, so you, in 1984, you had, a sexual assault conviction. And at that time, you said your victim's age was 20. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What you're talking about.
but then in 1985, and then you were convicted in 1987, you had another sexual assault, which the victim's age, it looks like was 10 or 12.
Yes.
Okay, I think, is that the one you're wanting him to talk about, Alex?
Yeah, the one where it says Mr. Robinson indicated that did not happen. However, he took a plea to first-degree sexual assault of a child. So
Yeah.
did that not happen?
No, it happened, but I said that at that point in time. I think it was at that point in time because I was so discombobulated. I said, no, this couldn't, the word should have said couldn't have happened.
Could have happened? It
Couldn't.
couldn't?
Yeah.
Could
couldn't
not.
have happened.
Okay.
But it possibly did happen.
Okay,
And that's when, the judge at that point sentenced.
okay. I do understand where his concern is coming from. Now, again, this goes back to 2008, so I'm going to gather you must have recently got out of prison at that time. Do you remember when you got out of prison?
The first time? Was
Yeah.
around that time.
Okay, and so at that time, we had the Green Bay Police Department and they explained more of the details of the assault of the child. And it said that you hid behind a door, jumped out, dragged the victim to a basement, held the scissors to her throat, tied her hands, and raped her.
That wasn't the child.
Okay, that was the girlfriend. And then it said, with regard to the other charge, the victim was 9 years old. You said you did not assault the child.
Right. That
What
one
did
time.
you do to the child?
I was sleeping in bed. She came in. I was in and out of sleep. Plus I was drinking. And at first I thought it was her mom. And then when I found out it wasn't, I said, whoa, what the hell, you know, that was it. There was no continuation or anything like that. There was no interest or all that. I was just drunk and I slipped and made that mistake.
Okay.
At the time, during all that time before I went to prison and stuff, you know, I had my own little, oh, this ain't real, this ain't going, all that other stuff. But after going through treatments and everything, taking a lot of classes from DBT and all that, it's like more of a deeper, where you look more deeper in yourself, back into yourself, and not just the top issues that you use to cover up things, but just to tell the facts with them about it. That's what I did.
Okay. Lieutenant Allen, I'm not sure if you have the criminal complaint from that far back.
I do, I didn't have them on the agenda for today, so I'm just reviewing them right now. So I have two, criminal complaints from 1985. The first one involves what I believe to be an 8-year-old child that was sexually assaulted by Mr. Robinson at least 6 times at an address on Harvey Street. The second one appears to be an adult victim from what I'm reading, and it looks to be a stranger rape, where Mr. Robinson was reported to have taken her against her will and sexually assaulting her down in a basement, but eventually ended up letting her go. And so that's the information that I have on those 2 cases.
That's not what?
It's not a stranger. That was the date girl that I was with.
Okay.
We had broke up. It wasn't a stranger.
Okay. Well, that's what's in the criminal complaint at the time. Okay. Is that good, Alex? Or do
Yeah,
you-
thank you.
All right. One thing I wanted to address is, so at one point you were listed as a 980. Is that correct?
Yes, I went to San Ridge on that. They dismissed that. Then I went 3 times.
You went to Sandridge 3 times?
Yeah, for the 980, they tried me 3 times, and each time, one time, the judge overturned the conviction, rather the court of appeals. Second one was the jury, and the third one was the state.
Okay. So, but during that time, you did have to spend time at Sandridge?
San Ridge, that's where I got involved with the DBT.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you heard me earlier say that if we talk about your treatment, you have the option to go into closed session or remain in public. Okay, so I know that Sandridge offers very intensive treatment. So can you tell us what you learned at that treatment?
Well, I took the DBT because it's the most, to me, it was the most intense.
And can you tell everybody what the DBT means?
DBT means dialectic behavior therapy. So what it does is, it doesn't play around with the upper level. They sit there and they'll tell you, you're only on your top shelf. In other words, you're jiving, you're lying, you're not going to the facts. Well, DBT will break you all the way down to what the essence is or the problem that you're having. So, say for me, my problem, I would say, well, I was mad at her and all that other stuff. But the truth was, you know, I don't have no right or anything to get mad at her. If she want to break up, she can break up. She want to go, she can go. That's not my decision to say, oh no, you're going to stay in this, that, and other. So, at the beginning of being incarcerated, you know, nobody really goes into themselves. But after the DBT, you go really deep, really deep. And that's when also the one about the child. came up. So I was like, well, all I remember that's what I remember. But I know I did not do anything else. But I was accused of, which I'm like, well, but I accepted the fact that what they were saying, and I pled guilty to it. Therefore, went to prison
Mhm.
for a lengthy time.
And you went for 20 years, is that correct?
Correct.
And then, you received 8 years of supervision?
Yes,
Okay, and
ma'am. I'll finish with it.
you're finished with everything, sure.
But I am on the bracelet.
Lifetime yeah, lifetime bracelet,
Mhm.
or are you on the bracelet only because you're homeless?
I'm on the bracelet.
Lifetime, okay,
Not for lose
okay,
lifetime.
okay. All right.
Heidi, am I able just to clarify something on my last comments, Jason?
Yes.
So I just wanted to let everybody know that after looking through the criminal complaint a little bit more, it doesn't describe the relationship between Mr. Robinson and the adult victim. It just indicates that the adult victim had known Mr. Robinson for approximately 6 months, and she was at her home when he just basically appeared out of nowhere. And then the assault took place after that. So I'll break for questions.
Oh, no, perfect, thank you. I think that's kind of what maybe happened when he was here in 2008, we got that, but then it did get a little confusing, so I'm glad you clarified that. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Lieutenant Allen?
No.
Okay.
You want me to keep going with the DT?
Yes, I think that, it's good to hear what you learned.
So, as I say, you go down deeper, but also you learn that you learn the law, but you learn that you don't have rights to just disobey anyone else's rights, to invade anyone's area, if you will, their barrier without their permission and so on and so forth. You learn that within yourself, you do have an off switch. You don't have to do the things you do, no matter how much you think about it, because you already know that the damage that you do to other people and the ripple effect that comes back towards not just yourself, but to your own family as well as their family, but mostly their family and the victim. Because the lifetime of however that person's psyche or emotional damage is going to be, tremendously long, because you don't know if they'll ever recover from it, which I really don't believe a person can recuperate from it fully. So the damage that you've done to someone else, the damage you've done to their family, then the damage you've done to yourself and your own family. Because my family was affected by it, but after a while, everybody, I'm just glad excuse me, that they came back and given me a second chance, And I just pray every day when I go to church with my church people, and that she's okay. Both of them are okay, and God's blessing them and keeping them. So I go to Bridgepoint Church and got baptized.
I will say that's, pretty impressive that you remember all those details from that treatment, because, it must have left a profound impact on you, because you haven't been in treatment, I'm sure, for a long time. Right? When was the last time? Oh, 2022?
I've been homeless since. So when I left, went back on the third time, then I got revocated.
Why'd you get revocated?
Because I was accused of, I was with a different, of assaulting. Wasn't assault. What it was I know if I think it's because you're on top or something. I was on top, holding her down. So it was holding her against her will. And they said something about a second degree sexual assault because you on top of the person holding him down. I said, well, what do you mean? They said, because your body touched that body. In other words, your penis touched their BJ. And I was like, no. So we went to trial on that. And that's where the here, not here, but in Green Bay, they dismissed all of it.
Oh,
Because
so
they
you weren't
found out-
convicted of that?
No.
Oh,
found
okay.
out That it wasn't factual.
But they
That-
still revocated you for it?
Yeah, because it was revocated a week before I was going to trial. The attorney I had asked them if they would wait. And this person said, no. Guilty. So I stayed almost about another 6-7 years.
At Sandridge?
And 5 years at Sandwich. Until I went before my hearing. And the judge in the state said, no, doesn't fit the criteria.
Okay.
And that also agreed that the offense was not occurrence.
Okay. Okay, any questions on that?
I'm here.
Okay, so you've been homeless since you got out in 22?
Yeah, I tried to get places, but it was hard to get. I was working for a while, then I had a massive heart attack. And they put stents in, and damaged my heart, so I'm disabled. Then I had to get back surgery, so they did a rod in the back, and now they want to put another one up front, but because I don't have a place, I can't get it done yet because they said that you have to be stable and all that, else you're gonna mess it up or disease infected or breaking necks. So all that I brought some of my medical stuff. We can see.
No medical, we don't need to see that, unless anybody wanted to look at it. Okay,
Yeah, because it states everything that I'm going through. I have
okay,
diabetic.
all right. So, you know, this is, now your third time before us, and back in 2008, the board approved you to reside at the TLP, and then again in 2014, we approved you to reside at the Randall Court. You know, I don't have a concern with this, Shane Street, but we'll see what the rest of the board would like to think.
I think, vote to approve.
That'd be fine.
Alex?
I'd like to ask Lieutenant Allen one more question. I'm a little confused on the chapter 980 because when I look like on CCAP, I see in 2022 there was an order that denied the sexually violent person petition. The way I read that is that he'd still be a 980. And I'm confused why that would be the case. Because I know there's a whole nother process for 980s. So do you have anything in your files that would tell you whether he's still classified as a 980?
How could I have?
I do not. I could check into it and get back to you. I don't have anything in front of me. That would specifically explain what that circumstance was.
I think what that means is that they presented the petition to classify him as a 980, and that petition was denied, so he was no longer listed as a 980.
Well, so it's the order. The petition was the sexually violent person petition, and then the order was to deny the petition, and this is in 2022. So
A 980 is the sexually violent person.
right.
Can you help?
But is the petition to get yourself removed?
Petition to get.
What was that 2022 case about, Mr. Robinson?
That was the one where I went before the judge and the case was dismissed on issue with assault, alleged assault against a woman that I was with at the time.
So Alex, if I can jump in, the petition would have been to declare the sexually violent offender, like to bestow that status upon the subject. So the state has to petition for that status to be declared.
Okay,
Then it would have been a petition by the state.
okay,
Denied.
that makes more sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Alex?
No questions. This is just one of those cases that it does make me a little bit more nervous about the location. But based on his testimony today and the years that have passed since we've had issues, I'm a little more comfortable with approving it. That's my feedback. I won't make a motion at this time.
Move to approve address specific.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so you are approved to reside at the 919 Shane Street. If you decide to leave that address, you do need to come back before us. Would you like us to mail that to that address?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you're good to go. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. And then the next appeal we have is Gerald Ripkowski.
Full disclosure, Daryl is a current customer of mine and I will be recusing myself.
All right. So Daryl, you have never been here before us either, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So as you've heard, in the last one, we're gonna ask you what you were, arrested and convicted of. And, again, don't state the victim by name or relationship.
I was convicted of possession of child pornography. It was traced back to me through peer-to-peer software, if I remember correctly. I did not receive treatment. I was initially scheduled for SO treatment, but in 2019, the Department of Corrections changed how they evaluated their sex offender treatment programs. And after an extensive evaluation, psychologists deemed I did not require treatment. While I was incarcerated, I was actually sentenced to 5 years in with 5 years out consecutive. So I served 10 years. Yeah, excuse me, I'm a little under the weather right now.
Sure. When you say serve 10 years, you actually were some of your counts consecutive?
Yes,
Okay. So 10 years in,
it was consecutive to count 1, count 2 were consecutive to each other.
okay. And then, so then is the, extended supervision also for 10 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I'm on extended supervision until June of 2030.
2031, okay. All right. And I'm sorry, what did you say while you were in custody? Did you get some?
I did go through psychological services to get mental health.
Oh, I'm sorry, before we do that,
Oh, that's,
I gotta just make sure you're
Yeah.
okay with it being in public session?
yeah, that's perfectly
Okay,
fine.
go ahead.
So I did go through psychological services to address my mental health. Prior to being incarcerated, I experienced a lot of deteriorating mental health issues, which kind of contributed to my crime. It was at that period of time, addiction to pornography, which led into child pornography. It was a way to feel something. At the time, with my myriad issues, I was so desensitized to the whole world. I didn't care about myself or anything. A lot of that got addressed. I think I spent 4 years doing therapy sessions. Luckily, we had some really good psychologists at New Lisbon that I was at. One of my psychologists who also specialized in sex offender treatment, this again, she encouraged me to go through my victim impact statements. Because that was in my sentencing report. And at that point in time, you realize the horror and impact that this has not only on the children, but on the families. And the idea of this ever being able to recover, it's be able to heal for these victims, it's nearly impossible. Especially when you hear in the news, at least once a month, someone being convicted of child pornography. So that just comes all back. It's realizing the horror that I contributed to that. Another beneficial thing that happened for me was I volunteered for a community service project. We're training service dogs, and volunteering for that actually, as I often said, it gave me back my humanity, which I lost probably years ago.
I'm sorry, you kind of went real fast, but
Yeah.
back to your charge. Did you take that to trial or did you?
I pleaded out.
You did, okay. And Lieutenant Allen, was this version correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Did you ever did you get to the bottom of why you think you did it? It's because of your self-esteem, is that kind of what you're saying? And your mental health issues?
Yeah. It's at that period in my life, like I said, it was how deteriorated I was. It was, you're so numb to, I was so numb to everything that it was, you know, feeling something.
And how old were you at that time when this happened?
Was 28 when I was arrested. I probably started around 26, 2 years prior.
Okay, and so currently homeless, you want to go to 2509 Sun Terrace Road.
Yes.
And you're gonna live with your mother,
Yes.
okay? And where do you work? Do you work at all?
Yes, I do. I work full time for Ryder System Incorporated. It's a warehousing and distribution center in the I-43 Industrial Park. I averaging right now between 52 and 64-hour work weeks. I work third shift, so I start work at 6:30. I work till 6:30 in the morning.
Is it like a 2-2-3 schedule or?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a modified 2-2-3.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you guys have any other questions for him?
Not here.
I did just wanna touch base. Your agent informed us that you've been referred to Thinking for Change. Has that occurred yet? Anything, you've got it scheduled?
Yeah, she did tell me it was approved. They're just with scheduling. So
And did she request you to do that?
yes, she did.
And was there a particular reason why she waited until now to request you to do that?
I think it's mostly between some of our sessions. She's worried about relapse with some of not so much relapse with recidivism, but with some of my mental health issues, trying to work through some of that. It's been a rough couple months.
Okay.
So
Do you take medication at all for your mental health?
I do take medications.
Okay. And do you see like a counselor or a therapist or anything for that, or just through your agent?
actually, my medication is through my primary practitioner. Right now, I am actually looking for another therapist. It's just things are chaotic. It's just been released at the end of May this year, so I've been focusing on one thing at a time rather than trying to overwhelm myself. First it was job, and I've been trying to find housing. One of the things that I will be working on next is going back into therapy, because it is very beneficial. I also want to eventually look for a AA group, because while I would never have admitted this prior to my incarceration, while working with some of my psychologists, I did recognize I do have alcoholism, but it's not full on. So
I mean, have you drank or anything since you've been out, been
No.
released? Okay, right.
the temptation has been there. That's why I eventually want to look for AA.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times they say, people with any form of addiction, process, it doesn't matter what kind of treatment. I mean, you can go to AA because it's an addiction, right? So the thoughts behind all of that stuff do help with other aspects in your life, so. Okay. Okay. Does the board have any questions?
Down here.
Any comments? Okay, do you have anyone that wants to speak on your behalf? You want to come up and speak?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll just need to state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay. My name's Lori Ripkowski. Live at 3010 Gemini Road, apartment 9, Green Bay. And my son has shown a lot of growing up since he's been I went to visit him several times a month when he was young, during those 10 years. And over the years, I could see the changes that was being made. He was becoming more mature, more responsible for his actions. That he really is trying hard now to become a better citizen. And not just for himself, but for other people. And he has shown a lot of caring where I'm concerned. He knows that I've had a lot happened to me during the time he was in. I had heart surgery, I had cancer. And he's worried about me, I know that. And that was one of the reasons that we were gonna do this move and move in together. Was that way I wasn't alone and he didn't worry that something would happen and there would be no one there. But the changes in him have been pretty significant. I see a lot of the way that he talks, the way that he acts, more respectful to other people. And that in and of itself is very important, because there were a lot of times that he didn't respect himself, let alone other people, when he was younger. He went through a lot of stuff himself, even as a child. That, you know, I was a single parent, so it was rough. But he's shown significant changes over the past 10 years since all of this stuff happened. And I, for one, really feel that of my 3 children, he's the one that seems to care the most. He's just always been there for me since, you know, whenever I had problems, when he would call me, because I had it set up so that he could call whenever he wanted. And he was understanding and caring, and if I asked him about whether I should do something, and he would give me his opinion. Sometimes good, sometimes not. But he was honest and he's just wants to make sure that he's there for me and to help. And this way too, it'll be easier for me even financially. Because it's hard living on an income because I'm retired. And trying to make ends meet isn't always easy. So, and there isn't a lot of money in savings because the 401 went bye-bye with all the surgeries. But, I honestly can say that I really feel, that there's a lot of changes in him and that they're for the better. And he puts everything into his word. He really is adamant about being the best with his job and everything, and that says a lot about a person. If they're that conscientious about their work. I worked as a supervisor I worked at Walmart for 26 years. And I was in supervisor positions. I worked in the pharmacy for a while. You get to see different types of people during that time. And people who really are adamant about doing their best that they can. Those are the good workers. Those are the ones that are going to make it in society. So,
Okay.
I
do have one question. So, I heard you state your address was on Gemini.
Yeah.
So when, would this move occur if it was approved?
if it's approved, we're hoping that we'll get the keys by the 1st of December. Because I have to be out of my apartment by the 31st of December.
Oh, okay.
The landlord there, I've been there 22 years and he suddenly decided he wasn't gonna renew my lease. No reason why. But, so this, if we get this place, we'll move in probably by the 1st of December.
Okay. And then, are you gonna have any kind of rules set for him, as you know, the two of you live together?
What do you mean by?
Well, sometimes, when parents have their children live with them, especially if they've been convicted of an offense, maybe they're gonna say, well, I have rules that they can't be out past 6 p.m. or maybe they have to do all the chores around the house, or they're not going to be having people come over. Maybe you haven't had time to discuss that, or
Well, the one thing is that he works at night, so. And when he comes home, well, he's gonna sleep during the day. But, when he has people come over, if he does, it will be during certain hours, I mean, I'm gonna sleep at night. So I don't want, people coming out when I'm sleeping. But, for the most part, the biggest thing is that he shares in cleaning the house.
Okay.
And that was one thing that we had talked about, even when he'd come over and he'd visit with me and he'd want to cook and stuff, it's just, we share cleaning so that it's not just me doing everything.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Good. And then I kind of forgot to ask him, but I think you don't have any access to internet, correct?
Yes.
Are you gonna have a computer in the home?
I have a laptop that I keep in my bedroom.
Okay.
And we've discussed this with the PO during the time when he had to try to find a job. I would be there and I would help him to look for the places and to put the applications in. But he had to put the application in.
Okay.
And the same thing when with trying to apply for to get a home, find an apartment. It's been rough trying to find a place that would accept him.
Yeah.
And during that time, I was there whenever he was on the computer.
Okay.
And otherwise, I would shut it off. He doesn't have my password for it, so he can't get on it. And this is the way that we handle things. If he needs to deal with his bills with the banking. Some of the banking I'm a part of. So that I have some access to it. But if he's got bills that have to be taken care of that I can't help him with, then I'm there monitoring when he's on it.
Okay, perfect. Those are the kind of rules, like, when I ask if you have rules that, so that you do have some rules set.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I don't have any other questions for, does anyone else? Okay, all right, you can go ahead and have a seat. Does anyone want to make a motion or have any further discussion? I'll tell you, I'm not concerned. You know, I do think that really you need to make yourself a priority and take care of your mental health needs, but if you're working on that with your probation agent, and this, by getting a place, if this is passed, you know, that will help you. You really have to follow through with that. Anybody have a motion they want to make or any more comments?
No, I don't have any concerns about the location. I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Abstain.
you, yeah, sorry. You're good to reside at that, Sun Terrace Road. If you two guys do decide to move from that location, you do need to come back before us if it's in the city. All right,
Thank you very
all
much.
right. Good luck. Okay, is there any information or anything we need to discuss? Okay, next meeting is gonna be December 18th,
That day?
4 p.m. I'm good with that date at this moment.
It's the week before Christmas. I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure with us having so few neighbors.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
Yeah, how's that recruiting going?
we're trying. If you know anyone. Saw the mayor's office put something up on, I think, their Facebook page, looking for. Trying to recruit some people to apply, so. Wheels are turning, but no hits yet.
I can ask a few of my peeps. I was telling Rachel Deanna beforehand that for me to get onto this board, like they call it the Heidi Michael rule. Because obviously there's kind of this conflict of interest, right? Because sometimes I know these people from jail, you know, I'm not really representing myself through the sheriff's office during this meeting, but there are things that I do know. So it had to be a discussion whether or not they would let me apply. And I mean, they did, so that may run into some of my other coworkers.
And I think having someone who can contribute perspective of the criminal justice system, treatment, any of those types of elements that add value to the discussion are certainly sought after and valued, but at the end of the day, the requirement is being a resident of Green Bay.
Yeah.
So
And I do have several of the ones that I used to work with in 980s. I still maintain contact with them. They don't work for the program anymore, so maybe I can reach out to them and see if they might be interested. So, because I truly believe that that's a big plus to have that background. So. Okay, I guess we'll need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right, second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Perfect.
thank you, everyone have a nice Thanksgiving.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.